Hello guys, welcome. Today we are going to answer these questions and we are going to examine the difference between listen and hear. There is a difference between them and we are going to use either listen or hear to fill in these empty gaps. So let's look at the difference. Now when we talk about hear, this is passive. This is a passive action. And when we talk about listen is an active action. Okay, now this is another difference. Here is used when we perceive a sound without trying. We perceive a sound without trying. Okay, for example, we can say, I heard the child. I heard the child crying. Okay, here I am not trying to hear the child crying. I'm not trying to perceive the sound of the cry, but I perceived it anyway. Okay, I heard the child crying. So this is passive. Now, when we talk about listen, this means paying attention to the sound in order to understand it. Okay, example, I listened to a crying child's complaints. Okay, so that is the difference. When we talk about here, we talk about a passive perceiving of a sound. Okay, without trying to, right? We are not trying to listen, we are not trying to understand, we just heard. Example, I heard the child crying. But when we talk about listen, this is active, meaning paying attention to the sound in order to understand it. Example, I listened to the crying child's complaints, meaning I listened in order to understand the crying child's complaints. Okay, let's answer these questions. Question 1. I blank carefully but blank nothing. What is the correct answer? Let's examine the first part of this question. I blank carefully, right? By the mention of this carefully, we use listen. That means I paid attention, right? I listened carefully. So we use listen here. I listened carefully but blank nothing. Okay? Correct answer is heard. Passive. Question 2. He cannot blank very well. Listen or hear. Correct answer is here because it's passive. There is no active paying attention to a sound, right? He cannot perceive any sound. Okay, he cannot perceive any sound. All right, so we use here. Question 3. I was blank to the music. Listen or hear. What is the correct answer? Now, this is actively paying attention to the music, right, to understand it. This is active, not passive, so we use listen. I was listening to the music. Question 4. The deaf cannot blank, hear or listen. Correct answer is here, right? The deaf cannot perceive a sound. The deaf cannot hear. Question 5. Let us blank to the story, hear or listen. What is the correct answer? The correct answer is listen, right? Paying attention to the sound, and that is story, to understand it, right? So let us listen to the story. Question 4. I blank a strange noise. Hear or listen. Correct answer is hear, right? That means I perceived a strange noise, right? Passive. I perceived a strange noise. Question 7. Did you blank during the lecture? Hear or listen? What is the correct answer? Correct answer is listen, because we're talking about paying attention to a lecture to understand it, right? So, did you listen during the lecture? Question 8. I can blank the sound of the car. Hear or listen? The correct answer is hear. That means I can perceive the sound of the car without trying, right? I can perceive it. There is no active action of paying attention to the sound of the car to understand it, right? I can just hear it passively, okay? So here is our answer. Question 10. Question 9. We blank to the news every night. Hear or listen? What's the correct answer? Correct answer is listen. Listen, right? Because we want to understand what the news is talking about, right? This is active. We are actively listening to the news every night, okay? So we listen to the news every night. Question 10. I'm speaking. Can you blank me? Hear or listen? Now, this might be confusing, okay? Because it seems as if the correct answer is listen to understand what the person is talking about, right? But that is not correct, okay? It's not correct. See, I'm speaking. Can you blank me? It's here. The correct answer is here, okay? Because this person is asking, can you perceive the sound I'm making? Can you hear what I'm saying? Okay? Can you perceive the sound I am making? He's not talking about can you understand what I'm talking about? Okay? So that is why that is why here is the answer, not listen. I'm speaking. Can you hear me? Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.